Let's take a look at the next drill here in our freestyle body positioning series. In our previous progression of this drill, right arm extended, we were very popped. We like going with the very popped version of this drill, and pop by very popped we mean you're kind of almost like kicking on your side. We like that for very developmental swimmers just so that they can kind of start to learn the body positioning and also where to place the head. We're now going to move into what we would consider to be more of a natural freestyle body positioning, especially just being popped. So here the hips and the shoulders are going to just be peeking out of the water, and our swimmer's challenge is to hold this position when they're traveling then through the water here. So let's go over the key items and of what we want to see in this drill. Starting out here with the kick. We like the toes here being pointed. That is being accomplished because we are wearing short fins here. The fins here are just going to be helping us assist to be able to move nice and forward as we're traveling through the water. We would suggest kind of having a light to moderate kick when we're doing this drill, just to help to kind of keep the body to be moving. We'd like to see what's happening right here. See all that turbulence up at the surface. We really like seeing that being here very present. In some earlier versions, our athlete was struggling a little bit with this. We'd like to kind of see this here as this is moving. Now the kick here is going to be a little bit kind of diagonal. So we want to be able, as the foot is going to be going forward, or it would be kind of maybe going down a little bit, however you want to look at it, it's saying the same thing. We want to make sure that we're kind of thinking about kicking a ball so that there's just that forward acceleration of the foot, so that way as the foot then comes down, then what we can do is then return it back up. Again, we mentioned earlier we like keeping the feet up at the surface here. So we like to call this thunder kick, white water, boiling water. All those cues essentially mean the same thing, keeping everything up here at the surface as we're moving through. So we like that. So that's really good right there. The hand here is going to be in front of the shoulder. We want to make sure that it's front of the shoulder. Otherwise, what we can kind of see, what we might see is, instead of going a straight line, what we might see then is kind of more of a curved line. And when we do that, if your athletes are kind of bouncing between the lane line, or they start out on this side and they start to kind of go over, that means that hand is leading us in the incorrect way. That's a really good way for athletes to kind of feel and understand their body is going to go where their fingertips are going to direct them. The head here is staying at a very low position. About half the head is under the water, half the head's over. The goggle line here is right along the surface of the water, and this is really nice movement as we're going through. So we just want to kind of keep kicking and hold this position. Now, you probably will get some swaying here, and that's going to be okay. As long as the athletes can kind of stay in a relatively close range to like this, where just that shoulder is popped out of the water, we're then traveling in a good spot. We encourage the athletes to keep breathing during this point so that they understand that the water is going to be around the face, and that's going to be okay. This will be just sometimes a weird sensation maybe for some athletes. And here we're doing, again, a pretty good job. We might want to just kind of continue to give our feedback to our athlete to get those legs up a little bit more when we're kicking. We started out great, and then we are dying out on that kick a little bit. There we go. We see those feet right there. And then we just keep moving. We'll switch here momentarily to an underwater view, and just so that we can get a better view of this kick here. We see those feet here being pointed, and then a lot of turbulence is being made. So just remember as we're kicking, so here it looks like those hips are down a little bit. We would want to make sure that we encourage our athlete to get them up a little bit so that the hips and shoulders are going to be a little more even as we're traveling through the water. So it's just really important to remember athletes are going to be able to perform these drills to various ability levels, and we have to give them feedback to help them become better. On our return view, as we get there we go. we're going to take a look. So we kind of mentioned before, so see kind of how our athlete starts out about right here, and then we start to end up a little bit more right there. So that hand here we can kind of see is in front of the head. We would want to tell our athlete to bring that arm, swing that arm out a little bit closer here to the shoulder as we're moving through the water. And doing that will just help the bodies to go this way instead of how we're kind of heading a little bit over to the lane line. Even with that being said, we're doing a great job here with that head positioning. We see the edge of the goggle line right here. The head's about halfway under the water, and we would like to see a little more kick. So we would give our feedback to our athlete to bring those legs up here a little bit more as we're moving through the water. Otherwise, we're doing a nice job here. Shoulders are popped, and the hips look like they might be swaying a little bit. That means our other side is down. And we will switch, and it's all right to there take a peek to see where we're going. And as we transition to here underwater, let's kind of take a look. Yeah, so here we're actually doing good. So the hips and shoulders here are nice and popped. We have a great view right there of the head as we're moving through. So that's a good spot right there. Just remember, we want to make sure that we're kicking a little bit more in front of the body as we're traveling through. And overall, our athlete's doing well. A little more practice, and we would get a much improved body positioning. Overall here, if you found value out of this, be sure to drop a like and subscribe.